ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕੋ, ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਸਰਦੂਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਮਾਲਵਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ। ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਜਰਨਲਿਸਟ ਜੋ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਲੜਕੀ ਲੰਡਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਵੈਸੇ ਓਰੀਜਨਲੀ ਉਹ ਪੈਰਿਸ ਤੋਂ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਬੜਾ ਗੰਭੀਰਤਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅੰਦੋਲਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਉਣੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। So I'm joined by Juliette Fever, who's originally from Paris, and she's studying journalism in London, and she's found out about the farmers' protest in India. She's very concerned and she wants to make a few points about that. Juliette, welcome to the SIKH channel, and nice to have you on the show. And first of all, can you tell me how did you find about this farmers' protest in India and what you feel about it?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for welcoming me. So the way I found out, I'm studying, as you say, journalism in London, and we have a photography course. And in December in 2020, I had to go outside to take pictures, and I took a bus randomly. I didn't know where to go, so I just took a bus. And at some point in central London, my bus was stuck in the middle of London. So I got off the bus and I was in the middle of a demonstration where apparently all people are Indian. That's how I took a few pictures around the demonstration. I didn't know at all what was happening, honestly. And I met there Laddie from the YouTube channel Laddie UK. And he actually told me, do you know what it's about? And I said, absolutely not. I don't know. It's just I'm taking some good pictures. That's all. He explained to me, and I didn't understand everything first. But I understood one thing is that I'm studying journalism. I'm quite informed, and I didn't know what was happening in India at all. And the only way I had to find out was to just bump into a demonstration in the middle of London.
Well, you see, if you look at it, if I can just briefly say to you, the debate took place in London, in UK Parliament, and in Australia, and in Canada, but we don't seem to have anything from the Indian government, or they haven't been. They've been sitting there for 8 months, and nearly 600 people have died in this protest. They have been through the winter and through the very hot summer. Now the monsoon rains, they're just living or settling there very rough. So what are your views about these protests about farmers in India?
I would say that my views is first some admiration. I'm French, and we praise how in France how our people and how people are really good at demonstrating and being on strike and claiming for their rights. And I absolutely admire what Indians have done this past month. Obviously, the weather conditions were hard, but it was in times of COVID as well. I can't imagine how hard it must have been. I think they have an approach that is absolutely important to share, because I think we can ask politicians as much as we want, and experts also, but farmers know what is happening on the ground. I think they are the best to know what is actually happening, and that's absolutely vital for them to be heard. So I absolutely admire and I support what is happening right now, because whether the outcome is, they have to say their thoughts on that, and they have to claim for their rights as they are doing right now.
Is your background from the farmers' family, or do you know in France about the farmers and how hard they work and they are the one, when we eat every day, that food is put on the table.
Well, both my parents come from the countryside, so I'm not too far from this world, but obviously it's less important in France than it is in India, because in India you have roughly 55% of your workers who are farmers. In France, it's only 1.5%. So it's absolutely, I would say that I'm not really concerned personally, but I understand the vitality of people who are working close to nature. I think nature is one important topic right now, and the people who know how to handle nature have to be
Mm.
heard right now.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel like, I mean, because we feel very deeply or sorrow in a way that how many people have actually died and they've been sitting on the borders of Delhi for the last 8 months, as I said earlier, through the winter, through the very, very hot summer. You can imagine how Indian summer is very hot. And now through the monsoon rains, and they've been flooded, their tents have been flooded. And, I mean, that's kind of sacrifices made by these farmers. And Indian government has not budged 1 inch about it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's why I can't help but express my high admiration for the way people fight. I think they are showing. Well, I think at the beginning the government could have said that's going to, like, they're going to get bored at some point and they will go home, and showing that they are here, they're still here, shows that it is absolutely vital what they are fighting for. And the more they're consistent in their demonstration, and the more the government can acknowledge that they are claiming something that is absolutely right. So yeah, again, I absolutely admire how hard uh, it must have been for them, and I really, really hope that it will pay at some point.
How do you think that we, as sitting outside India, how do you think you or anybody else can help? What things they can do, either protesting or, I don't know, financially or morally. How do you think we can help them?
Well, my personal weapon and strength, and I think it's yours as well, is information. So that's why I released this little video about the Indian issues and farmers' issues, because obviously, if in English we don't find a lot of articles or anything about it, in French it's even worse. So I made the video in French. Um, and I have actually an Indian friend in France that told me I didn't know at all what was happening in India. So
Mm.
you, like you, Theo, taught me what was happening in my own country. So I think it's yeah, that's my way. Actually, that's the way I found, because I'm a freelancer journalist in London, and I think information is vital. Even the fact that the how hard it was to understand the issue also comes from the fact that we in Europe are not educated on Indian history. We don't know what happened, what happens there. It's not in our history curriculum at school. It's really like in France. I didn't have an education to understand what is happening on this side of this country. I think first and foremost, it's inform people and explain to them what is happening, and also spread the message as much as we could. And well, that's what I did with my very humble video, but I I keep spreading the message as much as I could, and I hope other people are doing so.
See, if you look at in the wider world, like you said, in Europe or India, because the farmers, as I said earlier, are the ones who grow the food for us, and I mean that's through the supermarkets comes onto the table. They are the backbone of any country, and I think we need to look after the farmers. What's your views on that?
I absolutely agree. I would say um, the current times are also showing that not only the person who works in nature, but the nature itself is the backbone of not only the country but the earth. Actually, all the environmental issues are showing that our government's way to handle nature and how it privilege growth and power and money led nature to be destroyed and led to absolutely destructive consequences. So farmers know how to handle nature, not to harm it. They know how to protect nature and make nature give the best of it without harming it. I had an article, I covered a topic not a long time ago about a fisherman here in the UK. He is in Brighton, and he has been forced to quit his job as a fisherman because obviously the big companies have been favored and local fishermen had to stop working. And it's absolutely the same mechanism of big companies taking over everything. But while they're taking over everything, they do it badly and they're not protecting the fish, they're not protecting the sea, and they are polluting. And that's absolutely vital for the farmers to be heard because they know it's something, most of them, I don't know a lot about it, but most of them, I think it's something that they got from their families. It's something you learn from your father. And all of this
Mhm.
knowledge, they only know. And when we see how the environmental crisis is getting, we just can't but think that they have to keep their lands for themselves, and because they know the best how to handle it.
Juliette, you just told me that you made a video in French to give that message. Can you just summarize that video, what you made in French and English, and that kind of message to the communities living here in UK, the Indian community who are supporting the farmers? What is your message?
Well, my video is mostly about explaining the facts, and the facts only, understanding what happened, all the information around the issue, and mainly my position obviously is that we shouldn't privilege big companies and a few people on the top of big companies when so much farmers are already in difficult positions. I think it was in 2019 that we had so much, you had so much suicides in the farmer community because of the
Mm, mm.
agricultural crisis. Um, it's already hard, the conditions are already hard. So it's time for the governments to acknowledge that their way to function, their way to handle nature is not good, neither for the people, neither for the nature in itself. All of this is really harming the whole community and their environment. That's the message I want to spread.
Juliet, thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us. And hopefully, in your media studies, you're successful. I'm sure we would welcome you if you come to the SIKH channel for a few weeks and to work and you have your experience from there. Juliet, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much, and I will be very pleased to come. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਸੀ ਜੂਲੀਅਟ ਫੀਵਰ ਜੋ ਫਰਾਂਸ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੈਰਿਸ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਦੇ ਮੁੱਦਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਗੰਭੀਰਤਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਬੜੀ ਸੰਜੀਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਦੁੱਖ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਮੋਰਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਾਹਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਜੂਲੀਅਟ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਹੈ। ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਗਲਤੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਤਾਂ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨਾ। ਵਿਦਾਇਗੀ ਦੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਹੈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।